Hello, I hope you're having a lovely weekend. Today's video is going to be about adding a pop of colour to your eye makeup. So this is really for you if you want to inject something a bit brighter but you're not sure where to start. I'm going to go with a blue like the colour of my top. So if you've got any colours you want to have a play with, go and grab them, and now is the time to do it along with me. So I'm going to start first of all with some highlighter just under the brow bone and in the inner corners of the eyes. Now, I've purposefully not done my brows yet because I want to see the finished look before I decide what I'm going to do with them, because the brows make such a difference to any kind of eye makeup. If you leave them nice and soft, it can really let the eyes stand out, or a nice bold brow can really frame the whole thing. Now, this is really going to be for you if you're starting to inject that colour. So what I'm going to do is keep most of my eye quite neutral and then inject the colour just in one place. So first of all, to frame everything, I'm going to go in with some nice black liner on the waterline on the top and bottom. And with any kind of liner, I know it sounds like the most basic thing. I've just got some on my contact lens. Keep your sharpener to hand, because the more sharp it is, the less faffing about you have to do. And then actually, just looking at that lid, because I just threw a little bit of base on before I started the video and swept a touch of it over my eyes. I'm actually just going to set those eyes with a little bit of setting powder so that they're nice and matte, and that nothing is going to spill or run. So I'm going to go all the way in. This is just a clear translucent powder, and I'm going to prep everything right the way up to that socket and underneath the eye. There we go. I'm not concerned about this being too neat. I think it's always a bit nicer when it's a bit smudgier anyway, so I'm not too fussed. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to build my neutrals, and I'm going to take that same brush that I've just put down. Now, I've got quite a neutral palette here. This is an old NARS one, but any kind of soft colours that aren't necessarily in one family or another are going to be great to do this framework. So I'm going to take a soft tan colour through the sockets, and what I'm actually going to do is try and create a gradient of brown going into black. So the brown is going to go all the way across this eye. This is just how I personally feel most confident building any kind of shape in my eye makeups. But you could use any colour here really to give it a bit of shape and definition. I just find that that soft brownie helps to transition any kind of colour in a really smooth, blended way. And that is because it's also a few shades deeper than my natural complexion. So you could do the same, choose something that's a bit deeper than your complexion, and you get that lovely fade out as you go up the eye. Now I'm going to take this right the way into this inner corner. And I'm starting to build some shape there. Just fluff that out a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little smudging brush and let me have a look here. I'm going to show you the blue I'm working with. This is a big NYX colour palette. I'm going to work with that blue there. So to contrast that, I'm going to take a coppery colour under my eyes. These two are going to completely clash and hopefully make each other look a bit brighter. I've just thought I haven't laid a mascara out for myself, but never mind, I'll fetch one in a moment. So that's going right the way underneath. Again, to be honest with you, I'm not too fussed if this is the smoothest application in the world, because I'm just going to buff it out with my finger and with a few brushes anyway. I've spilled something there. I'll get that off with my foundation brush. Okay, now on a slightly fluffier brush, am I the right way up? Good. I'm going to go in with some of that warmer brown and start to deepen this outer socket. I don't necessarily want any harsh lines, but I want this outer corner to start to kick out. I'm going to start to build that slightly feline shape. And you can see already, if this was just like a soft, neutral makeup, we're starting to take shape and just have a nice smoky edge. And we've left those eyes nice and fresh. Now, I'm going to start going in with my blue on a flat brush. All I want to do is press this on up the way to the crease, and then I'm going to start blending them together. I'm hoping there isn't going to be a lot of drop down from this because I've obviously already done my base. But if there is, I can tidy that up using my foundation brush. So as you can see, I'm just packing that on so that I've got a nice vivid pop of colour on that lid. Flattening it on with that flat brush, and you can see that I'm not necessarily flicking it either way because I don't want it to spill. I'm going to take this brush that I've done that brown with and just soften the brown, fading into that blue. That looks nice to me. I'm happy with that. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now this, as I was saying, I really like this one if you're just starting to play with colours, because really your wow moment is only on the lids and the rest is a very neutral colour palette. But what I'm also going to do, I've got another palette lined up, a green, is show you how to amp it up a bit if you want the entire eye to be filled with colours, but not in a way that feels, you know, too dramatic. Just still very wearable and pretty and feminine, but definitely so that you have that wow moment of, oh my gosh, what a lovely colour you've got on your eyes. Okay, so very gently blending those together. How much time have I got? I'm confident I'm going to have time to just tweak this a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going back in with that smudgy brush, and now I want to deepen those outer corners ever so slightly. I'm going in with quite a silky, satiny black. And just on those outer corners, I'm going to add a little bit of a flick upwards on each side and then join it together with a little bit of a smokiness along that upper lash line. Just really gently making little strokes with this, almost giving the illusion of a liquid liner, but with your brush. Being really careful to try not to get any drop down with this. To be honest, if you're doing this, I'd recommend doing your eyes first. But I'll be really honest with you, my skin has been awful this week. Like the worst it's been in a long time. And I just didn't quite have the balls to start without a base on. But usually I'd do the same and then wipe away any excess and clean it off. but not today, and that's okay. Okay, I'm going in with that same brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that Silky black. I've got 5 minutes. We're going to be able to do this. Now I'm just going to follow the outer corner of that framework, add a bit of black. Now I know, do you remember on Art Attack, you'd be looking at him thinking, that's wicked, and then the next thing he'd do another step and you'd be thinking, you've ruined it, Neil. And then he'd finish it and you'd be like, no, you've recovered. That's what this is probably looking like. I'm going to buff this out with the original fluffy neutral brown on a fluffy brush and create, hopefully, a nice soft fade between that darker shade and that original brown. I think this might take a little bit of doing, but I'm confident I'm going to be able to achieve it. I've achieved it on that side, I feel like. Potentially need to do a bit of blending over here. I'm on the clock as well, that's okay, we're going to do it. Okay, top tip David Horn taught me is finish then finesse. So I'm going to stop faffing about with that. I'm going to get the majority of it finished, and then all my faffing I'm going to do when I know that I could technically walk away with it done. I'm going in with a little Soap and Glory brow gel. I'm going to wipe the excess on this little tissue on my lap, because as you saw, there was quite a lot when I first went in with that. Lovely. This is really nice. It's quite a dark brown, so it's given me that fluffy, hairy brow look that I like. But because it is quite dark, it's still defined those brows quite nicely. Lovely. Just for the sake of making things interesting, I've got a NARS blue glitter that I've not used before. I really hope this isn't the end of the lovely job we've done until now. It's a pressed glitter. I'm going to press a bit on using my ring finger. That's really good for pressing on glitters because it applies the least pressure and you're least likely to use too much or have it really mess up. That's going on really nicely actually. Very, very fine, this glitter. So rather than it being loose, it's almost like a shimmery highlight. Is it coming up on there? Lovely. They won't know who is turning up to the pub quiz. And then I'll just make sure that the edge of that is nice and blended. Okay, now back to my basics. I want to check that that highlighter is really strong in those inner corners. So I'm going to go back in and just give that another pop. I'm not going to put any liner on because I want the blue to pop. I've got no mascara. Just stay there. I will be back. Hang on. Yes, okay, I've got it. I don't know how to edit my videos. I know everyone knows how to do that really well, but unfortunately that's not me. So these things have to happen where I'll dip out and come back. Now the key is loads of mascara, so that if you framed all these neutrals really well, that blue is just a pop of colour and you will feel like it's so much easier to wear. I don't think I'm going to put any on the bottom just while I'm finishing this, because I just want to show you how lovely that is. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend and I'll be speaking to you soon.